Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Reverend Nancy March. I'm the rector of the parish of St. Mary the Virgin here in St. John's, Newfoundland, and I'm coming to you this afternoon from St. Mary's Church on Craig Miller Avenue to inform you about our plans to reopen our building for Sunday worship and the directions and the instructions that will need to be followed by all who plan to attend. Our protocol for this has been provided by our diocese, Anglican East NL, and it's entitled Many Members, One Body. I'll only be recapping the most important information for you, but you can read the full document by visiting our diocesan website, anglicanenl.net. St. Mary's congregation has had a task force that has been working diligently since late June to prepare for us to reopen our building with physical distancing and hygiene being our guiding principles. Many changes have already been made to our physical space in the building. The parish office remains closed, and our office administrator, Linda, will continue to work from home. Once inside of our building for worship, the only spaces that can be accessed are the two porches, the main entrance and our side entrance, the main body of the church where I am right now, not our chapel, and the two main bathrooms that are just down from me here in the church on the third floor. We have to limit the usable space so that we can keep high-touch areas contained to make the mandatory cleaning between our services as efficient as possible. Signage has been placed throughout our building as directed by our diocese and the government of Newfoundland and Labrador. There will also be arrows throughout the building on the floor to indicate the proper flow of foot traffic, and hand sanitizer will be readily available for you to use. All the touchable materials have been removed from our pews. There's no service books or envelopes, and we kindly ask that you do not bring any service books with you, as the service will be provided for you on a printed bulletin. The pews that you're going to be able to sit in are marked with a white cross. And at this time, there will be no godly play or fellowship following our services. We are, though, exploring online, live-streamed and recorded godly play and confirmation programs. And once we have more information, we'll let you know about that through our Magnificat, our weekly newsletter, and also through our website, www.stmarythevirgin.ca. So prior to worship, the only worship that's going to be held at St. Mary's is going to be the 10:30 service on Sundays. As of August the 18th, we have been permitted to allow up to 100 people to attend service. This number must include, though, the clergy, the organist, and the volunteers that are needed for registration and greeting. Therefore, we foresee being able to accommodate about 90 parishioners. However, while we may be able to have 100 people in total, we only have 26 partial pews that can be used for seating for households or bubbles, as per our diocesan instructions, and to ensure social distancing. Before anyone can attend church service at St. Mary's, you have to register. I can't stress that enough, because if you don't register, we cannot let you in on Sunday mornings. Because of the behind-the-scenes work involved in the registration process, you cannot drop into a Sunday service. Unfortunately, you will not be permitted to enter if you show up not registered. The registration is going to be overseen by our office administrator, Linda. To register, you call her at 709-330-7089 to register on Tuesdays from 9 till 12. And if the maximum number has not been reached by that time, we'll continue with registration on Wednesdays from 9 until 12 noon. When you call to register, you'll be asked 3 questions by Linda, and you must give your name and your phone number as to contact for contact tracing purposes. After noon on Wednesday, whether the maximum number of 100 has been reached or not, registration will be over for the following Sunday. You cannot book ahead for Sundays, but only call on the Tuesdays and Wednesdays before the Sunday that you plan to attend church. Once you get to service time on Sunday, we recommend that you arrive at church at least a half an hour before the service begins, which will be around 10 o'clock, to allow time for our registration process and seating process. As of August the 24th, masks are mandatory. And you must bring your own. They are not going to be provided for you by the church. Now, masks are not required to be worn by children under the age of 5 or people with physical and mental health conditions that prevent them from wearing a mask. The masks can be removed once you have been seated, provided that physical distancing can be maintained between individuals or bubbles. Masks may also be removed when you receive communion, but masks must be worn when you're moving around the building, coming in and going out, as well as when we stand to sing hymns, which has been permitted as of September the 10th. The only door we'll be using for our Sunday worship will be the main doors facing Craig Miller Avenue. Upon arrival, you will be greeted by the registrar, who will ask you the required questions and make sure there hasn't been any changes since you registered to come. Once finished with the registration process, you pick up your order of service, you proceed through the main doors of the church, and you'll be met by the greeter. The greeter will then show you down our aisle here in the middle to your seat. There'll be hand sanitizer that you can use as you come into the church, and the signage will be pointed out to you that's around the building. Seating is not going to be usual seating in church. The seating that we have to follow will begin at the front of the church and work its way back to the back of the church. And you must sit in the pew that you're directed to. We ask that you remain in your pew for the whole service. When the service is over, we ask that you please remain seated, as you will be directed by the greeters to exit the building. And the exiting of the building will begin in the back of the church and work its way to the front. So now that we've figured out how to get to church and how to be in church, the liturgy is also going to look a little bit different. During the liturgy, there will not be our usual procession or the participation of the choir at this time, though we will have congregational singing. As few people as possible will be participating in the service itself. As we cannot use the service books, as I said earlier, our whole service will be provided for you printed in a bulletin. And you'll also be asked to take that bulletin with you when you leave. The bread and the wine will already be on the credence table at the front of the church, and the collection plates will be put inside the front doors for you to place your offering in upon arrival or departure. During the exchanging of the peace, we're also not allowed to make contact, but we certainly can greet each other with a nod or a wave. The readings and the prayers during the service will continue to go as usual. It's just that there'll only be one person doing those readings and the prayers, as we're not allowed to share microphones. We'll still be able to celebrate the Holy Eucharist, which I'm most excited about, but we will only be receiving the bread. And as we have to reduce the movement in the church, at the time of communion, I am going to come to you instead of you coming up to our altar rail. I'm going to go down to each person in their pews and administer the bread. I will be masked, and I will have hand sanitizer in my pocket in case of contact. And depending upon attendance, there may be another Eucharistic minister who will assist me on the opposite side to ensure communion is completed in a timely fashion. If you don't wish to receive the bread when I come to you in your pew, all you need to do is just as you do if you were at the altar rail, just simply cross your arms in front of your chest to indicate to me that you do not wish to receive the bread, and I will just simply offer you a blessing instead. Following our service at the end, when we have our blessing and dismissal, we're asking again, as I've stated before, for you to remain in your pew until you're directed to exit the building by one of our greeters. And exiting our building, again, is only going to be done through the one door, and we're asking that you not stay and linger behind at all at this time to avoid, again, the social distancing issues that we may encounter there. We are only able to reopen here at St. Mary's because of strong faith and the commitment of our 6-person task force and our additional 10 volunteer greeters. I know that this is a very new and very different experience for church for all of us. And although the protocols may seem extreme to some, we are required, in order to be able to open our doors, we are required by our diocese as well as the provincial government to follow these rules to the best of our ability. I want to thank on behalf of you, our reopening team. Janet Vivian Walsh, Everett Russell, Jerry Beersford, John Hopkins, Karen Appleby, and Ann Beersford for their tireless efforts in making the protocol from the diocese and translating it into a very thorough and user-friendly instruction for our congregation. They have been working on this, believe it or not, since late June, and their efforts have been second to none. Thank you all for your dedication to our congregation and allowing God to use your time and your talent in this way. If you have any further questions, concerns, or comments, please don't hesitate to contact me at the parish office, 579-0039, or by email at rectorstmarys856@gmail.com. I look forward to seeing you. I miss you so much, and I can't wait to see you when you're ready to come back to church. Until then, God bless.